Are China's rare earths the key to U.S. economic security? Imagine this, the phone in your pocket, the car on the road, even the fighter jets that defend nations. All of them rely on something you've probably never thought about. Hidden metals, buried deep in the earth, that one country controls more than anyone else. And here's the twist. That country isn't the United States. It's China. Today, we re-diving into the story of rare earth elements and why they may hold the key to America's economic and national security. Stay tuned because this story could change the way you see global power. In the 21st century, power isn't always about tanks, warships, or nuclear bombs. Sometimes, it's about things you can't see, things hidden in plain sight. Elements with names so alien, most people can't pronounce them. Neodymium, dysprosium, yttrium, POWs. They sound like science fiction, but they're not. They're inside your headphones, your laptop, your car's motor, even inside satellites circling above Earth. And here's the kicker. Without them, the modern world simply doesn't work. The United States knows this. China knows this. And that's why these obscure elements have become the center of a quiet but fierce global struggle. So let's rewind. Where did these mysterious elements come from? Why does China control them? How did America, once the leader, become dependent on its greatest rival? This is not just about science. It's about economics, security, and the future of power itself. But a rare earths explained simply. Okay, let's start with the basics. Rare earth elements, or REEs, are a group of 17 metallic elements on the periodic table. They're not actually super rare. You can find them scattered across the Earth's crust. But here's the catch. They don't like to hang out alone, or mixed with other minerals, and separating them takes expensive, complicated, and often polluting processes. Think of them like the vitamins of technology. You only need a small dose, but without them, the entire system collapses. Neodymium and praseodymium make powerful magnets that run electric motors and wind turbines. Europium and terbium light up your screens. Yttrium and gadonium help in medical imaging. Dysprosium keeps magnets stable in jet engines. It's from your iPhone to a fighter jet. These little guys are working behind the scenes. That's exactly why controlling them is so powerful. Discovery and early uses. A quick history lesson. The story of rare earths actually goes back over 200 years. In 1787, in a tiny Swedish village called Ytterby, a mineral was discovered that later revealed not one, not two, but multiple new elements. Scientists eventually named some of them after the village itself. Yttrium, terbium, erbium, ytterbium. Imagine being so important that 4 elements carry your town's name. Fast forward to the 20th century, and rare earths started finding their way into color televisions, lasers, and even NASA's space race projects. But their real explosion came in the 1990s and 2000s. In the digital revolution, smartphones, laptops, green energy sent demand soaring. Whoever could supply these materials would basically control the backbone of modern life. China enters the game, and here's where China comes in. While the US and the West were focused on the Cold War, the dot-com boom, and Wall Street profits, now China made a quiet but genius bet. Under Deng Xiaoping's leadership, Beijing realized that rare earths could become an economic weapon. China offered cheap labor, minimal environmental rules, and heavy government support. The result? It ramped up production so fast, no one else could compete. By the early 2000s, China controlled more than 95% of the world's rare earth supply. 95%. Else. That's not dominance. That's monopoly. And Deng Xiaoping summed it up perfectly. The Middle East has oil. China has rare earths. That wasn't just a line. It was strategy, had the US fell behind. But wait. Wasn't America once a leader here? Yes, it was. Back in the mid-20th century, the Mountain Pass mine in California was the world's biggest rare earth producer. It powered US industries, defense projects, and consumer tech. But then came stricter environmental regulations in the US, higher labor costs, and here's the big one. China's ability to produce at rock-bottom prices. American companies thinking about short-term profits shrugged and said, "Why compete? We'll just buy it from China." And just like that, the US surrendered its lead. By the 2000s, Mountain Pass had shut down. America was importing nearly everything from China. This wasn't just an economic decision, it was a strategic blind spot, and the consequences, it would hit harder than anyone expected. The military connection. Why the Pentagon cares? Now here's where things get really serious. Rare earths aren't just in iPhones or Teslas. They're in America's most advanced weapons. F-35 fighter jets use rare earth magnets in their engines and systems. Guided missiles depend on rare earths for navigation. Night vision, goggles, radar, even satellites, all need these elements. The Pentagon has warned again and again, if rare earth supplies are disrupted, U.S. military readiness could collapse. Think about it. What good is a fighter jet if you can't build the engine? What happens to precision missiles if you don't have the guidance systems? This isn't just an economic vulnerability, it's national security on the line. Technology, green energy, and the future. And it doesn't stop there. Rare earths are at the heart of the biggest technological revolutions of our time. Every electric car, every wind turbine, every smartphone, even the next generation of AI and quantum computers, they all need rare earths. The International Energy Agency predicts demand for rare earths could grow by 400% in the next 2 decades. 400%. That means the rare earth question isn't just about today. It's about the future of entire industries. And right now, the U.S. is relying on its biggest rival, China, to power those industries. China's rare earth weapon. The 2010 example. If you're wondering, has China ever actually used rare earths as a weapon? The answer is yes. In 2010, China had a dispute with Japan over the Senkaku Islands. Beijing quietly stopped shipping rare earths to Japan. The result? Chaos, Toyota, Sony, and other Japanese giants scrambled. Prices for rare earths spiked worldwide. Governments panicked. The world learned a valuable lesson. Rare earths aren't just resources, they're leverage. Fast forward to the U.S. China trade war in 2018-2019, state media floated the idea of cutting off rare earth exports to America. They didn't even have to do it. The threat alone rattled markets. That's the kind of power we're talking about. Its response? Playing catch-up. So what is the U.S. doing about it now? Well, finally, Washington woke up. The Pentagon has started investing in rare earth projects. The Mountain Pass mine has reopened under MP Materials. The U.S. is working with allies like Australia and Canada. And scientists are researching recycling and alternative materials. But here's the hard truth. Building a full supply chain, mining, refining, manufacturing, takes years, even decades. And China has a decades-long head start. Right now, China still controls around 60 to 70% of rare earth production, and even more of refining. The U.S. is catching up, but the race is steep, and the clock is ticking. Allies join the fight. Luckily, the U.S. isn't alone. Australia, with its Linus Corporation, is a key player. Japan, scarred by the 2010 crisis, has invested heavily in recycling and alternatives. The European Union has declared rare earths a critical resource. Even India is exploring its own reserves. But here's the challenge. Together, they're still behind China's entrenched dominance. It's like trying to catch a runner who started the race decades earlier. Cycling and urban mining, a glimpse of hope. One of the most promising ideas is recycling. Think about it. Billions of old smartphones, wind turbines, electric car batteries, all filled with rare earths. Instead of throwing them away, why not recycle? Japan calls this urban mining. In fact, they collected over 78,000 tons of EO waste to extract metals for the 2020 Olympic medals. Pretty genius, right? The US is experimenting with recycling too. But here's the problem. The scale isn't enough yet. Recycling can help soften shortages, but it won't replace mining anytime soon. Still, it's part of the solution. Mountain Pass Mine. Let's zoom in for a moment on Mountain Pass in California. This was once America's crown jewel for rare earths. It closed down. It reopened. And now, it produces about 15% of the world's supply. Impressive, right? But here's the twist. For years, Mountain Pass sent its raw ore to China for processing. So America dug it out of the ground, but China still turned it into usable materials. That's how deep the dependence runs. New refineries are being built in the US, but it shows you the scale of the challenge. It's not enough to dig. You need the entire chain. Japan versus China, 2010, remember that? 2010 rare earth crisis. Let's dig a little deeper. When China cut exports to Japan, prices spiked by more than 700%. 700%. Japanese companies were panicking. The government stepped in, investing in recycling and redesigning products to use fewer rare earths. They also partnered with Australia's Lynas to secure supply. Today, Japan is less dependent than before. The lesson for the US is clear. If it happened once, it can happen again. It's the bigger picture: rare earths and global power. This isn't just about minerals, it's about power. In the 20th century, oil shaped geopolitics. Wars were fought over oil. Superpowers rose and fell with oil. In the 21st century, rare earths might play a similar role. Think about the three revolutions happening right now. 1. The green energy transition. Wind, solar, EVs. 2. The digital and AI economy. Cloud chips, quantum computing. 3. Military superiority. Hypersonics, drones, next-gen jets. All of them depend on rare earths. Whoever controls the supply chain controls the future. What if China cuts the US off? Scenario. Let's play out a scenario. Tensions rise over Taiwan. Sanctions are flying back and forth. China announces it will halt rare earth exports to the US. Pause. What happens? Defense production stalls. Tech companies panic. Apple, Tesla, Lockheed Martin, all scrambling. Prices shoot up globally. Stock markets tumble. It's like the oil shocks of the 1970s, but this time with minerals hidden in our gadgets and weapons. It's a nightmare scenario, and it's not just theory. Pentagon openly admits it's a real risk: the global race. Here's the reality. The whole world is waking up to this race. Europe has launched its Critical Raw Materials Act. India is hunting for its own deposits. Africa, with massive untapped reserves, is the next frontier. And guess who's already there? Yep, China. This is the new resource race. Not for oil fields or pipelines, but for rare earth mines and supply chains. So the big question: can the US catch up? The good news? America has reserves. The U.S. Geological Survey says North America holds about 13% of global reserves. The bad news? Mining isn't the bottleneck, refining and processing are, and China owns that game. The U.S. is building refineries in Texas and California. The Department of Defense is funding projects. Private companies are innovating with recycling. But catching up will take time and serious political will. Lessons from history. History gives us perspective. Britain's coal fueled the 19th century, America's oil fueled the 20th, and now China's rare earths could fuel the 21st. The question is, will the U.S. remain dependent, or will it invest in resilience? So, are China's rare earths the key to U.S. economic security? The answer is yes, but it goes deeper. They're the key to technology, to green energy, to military dominance, to the balance of global power. China understood this decades ago. The U.S. is only now waking up. And in the future, wars may not be fought over oil fields, but over rare earth mines. Because the nations that control the foundations of technology don't just shape economies, they shape empires. That is all I got for this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Also, please consider subscribing and supporting the content. I would really appreciate it. And let me know if you enjoyed this episode. If you did, don't forget to like and comment. As always, thank you so much for watching, and never forget, you are amazing.